welcome to season 3 of Let's Talk AppSecOps and 2024. But wait, if we look back at what we talked about in 2023, we talked about application security. We talked about vulnerability management. We talked about software supply chain. We talked about product security, and there's a commonality between all of these. It's really, we're not talking about application security anymore, or only application security. We're really talking about software security as a whole. So maybe we should call the show Let's Talk Software Security. Makes sense, right? So, season 3, 2024, welcome to Let's Talk Software Security. Now, before we launch the season, let's just talk a little bit about what do we mean by software security. I already touched upon those 3 pillars. And really, if you think about it, really all of this is about software, right? Application security is about the applications, about the code that you're writing. Vulnerability management, well, the vulnerabilities we're managing, there's software vulnerabilities, right? Whether they're in the application or in the operating system, which is more the traditional approach in the traditional sense. But these 2 worlds are blurring together as we start looking at source composition analysis, the leveraging of open source software, and the vulnerabilities that are within there. You know, now we're having to resolve or remediate those vulnerabilities by engaging with the development team. So it's becoming part of application security. So these worlds are blurring, right? Source composition analysis, container security, cloud security as well. But as we start looking at source composition analysis and we start looking at open source, this obviously leads into software supply chain and SBOM. SBOM is only one part of software supply chain though, right? We've got SBOM being provided to us, so we need to be able to consume that SBOM. We need to be able to understand the vulnerabilities that are within there and then be able to manage our organizational risk. Often that's going to involve coordinations with third parties, because that, at the end of the day, that SBOM that's being supplied to us is actually typically coming from a third party. And we need to be able to manage that risk that's within the SBOM. That third party might be external to my organization, or it might be internal. So doing collaboration internally and externally within my organization is going to be some of the key components there as well. Now, software supply chain goes beyond SBOM. It also includes CI/CD posture management and understanding the health and the hygiene associated with my whole delivery pipeline. Yes, the components of that, the open source software that could feed into it, but is my delivery pipeline secure? Am I handling my secrets correctly? All of these things are part of your overall hygiene and roll right into software security under that software supply chain umbrella. Now, there is another component of software security that we've really not touched upon too much last year. We did start talking about it. We started talking about product security. And a lot of the times organizations are struggling, or should I say the industry struggles a little bit with understanding what's the difference between software security, application security, product security. So let's define some of this. Software security is this overarching umbrella that I just talked about. Application security is specifically oriented around the code of the application that's being developed, and then the infrastructure that supports that. This is where the line gets blurry. So now we're bleeding into product security. And one of the nuances of product security is that it's not typically used within a cloud native or cloud deployed world. Now, the reason being is when I think about cloud-based deployments, I typically have, I'm going to oversimplify here, 2 code bases, the one that's in production today and the one that's going to be in production soon, the one that development are finalizing and we're going to push out of the door. So we really have 2 versions. We don't have 2 versions of the software deployed in a production environment. That's very different in a product security world. In a product security world, you're releasing software that's deployed in infrastructure that you cannot manage. So for example, hardware devices that have software embedded on them, I can't just push software arbitrarily to those devices, because those devices might be outside of my control. They might be deployed within a client's environment. Traditional software which is not cloud-based. So think your desktop applications, the ones that are running on your local computer, you're reliant upon the user or the organization's deployment mechanisms to do updates to that software. So again, now I'm combining code and infrastructure that I can't manage. Another one of those is also obviously data center centric deployed technologies. In those worlds, I'm going to have multiple releases of the software that I need to manage over time. So I'm going to release that software. I'm going to do service packs against it. And then I'm going to release a new version that is going to supersede that old version at some point in time. So I'm going to archive that, or I'm going to end of life it. That's where product security becomes really complicated from the software security perspective, because I've got multiple versions, multiple units of work, which may be correlated together, but really typically only one or two active versions that are currently in some state of being worked on. So software security, what is it? It's application security, vulnerability management, software supply chain, and product security fits right in there as a further extension or intersection between the application security and the vulnerability management as we start to think about the combination of infrastructure and software tightly coupled together. Okay, well, I hope you found this video useful. As I say, this is the beginning of 2024, so click like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more sessions where we'll go into each of these and we'll start talking about things like how vulnerability management has evolved over the last few years, really to more of a risk-based approach. We'll talk about application security and how you can understand where you sit today on your maturity level and how that's evolving. And then also how to get a handle on software supply chain and really understand what your responsibilities are today, but also where the industry is going as a whole. Okay, thanks very much for the time. Stay tuned, and I look forward to a great 2024 with you this year. All the best, and talk soon.